Hello. Well, I'd like to welcome Tegan Maher to the Cozy Mystery interview.
Thanks for having me, Morgana.
Yes, and you've had a very sleepless night with kittens, haven't you?
Yes, we got two last night, and the meeting with the dogs did not go well. My
Oh,
poor puggle. I have a puggle and an old lady chihuahua, and they just wanted to be friends. And the kittens, which are like this big right now, they're only 8 weeks old, just hissed and spit, and we're not having it. So
oh, that's so cute, though, isn't it?
it's
Friendly.
hilarious that something this big was ruling a 35-pound dog.
I know. Well, when I got my rescue dingo, she'd been in the wild and she thought she could kill everything that moved to eat it. And she met my cat and she made
Oh,
breakfast. And my cat told her otherwise. And since then, my rescue dingo has been absolutely terrified. If you say cat, she hides somewhere. So I,
oh, it's cool that you have a rescue dingo. It's actually a dingo?
yes, yes,
Oh, that is so
from the
cool.
wild. Yes, but she'd been very badly mistreated. I don't know if you
Oh,
can see her behind me, but she likes very soft beds now. And I love your
hmm.
mug, your coffee mug.
Thank you very much.
Isn't it
Regina
gorgeous?
Welling made that for me actually for Christmas.
Isn't that lovely? Now,
Thank
your book of
you.
the month, I read it some time ago and I absolutely loved it.
Thank
And
you.
I love the way, I love the fact that that horrible boss was murdered. So
He 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 had it coming.
yes, well, I think most mean bosses do.
I agree.
And it's called The Deadly Daiquiri. And it's, I think, one of seven, isn't it, in the Enchanted Coast Magical Mystery Series?
Yes, and I
Right.
have another one coming out next month in it.
Oh, I was going to
So,
ask you that. So next month.
yes.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I love writing in that world. It's just fantastic. It's so much fun. It's a toes in the sand. It and my paranormal women's fiction book are both set on the beach, and I just love those are my escape worlds.
And I suppose you had to do a lot of research on cocktails, did you? For the
I
series?
was actually a bartender for most of my life. Yeah, I got my degrees. When I was young, I did the whole college thing, and then found out I could make so much more money bartending than I could using my degrees.
Well, that's typical, isn't it?
Yes,
Apparently.
you know,
Yes.
and I did work on a beach resort, so I had that experience. And so yeah, just kind of everything. And Destiny is the younger version. Destiny's the main character in my Enchanted Coast series. She's the younger version of me.
Oh, really? That's so interesting. Now, in the first book, the boss, who was a nasty angel, but a nasty person, a nasty boss,
Yes,
murdered. So, have you ever had a nasty boss, a mean, nasty boss?
I have. I admit that he actually has a lot of the characteristics of my very first bartending boss, the very first bar owner. He was horrible. And so writing that was kind of cathartic. I kind of giggled a lot
Yes.
because, I got to do all the things I just thought about in my head when I was working that horrible job.
Yes, it is cathartic, isn't it? So, if someone annoys you in real life, do you typically put them in a book and murder them like so many of us do?
Yes, I have a list.
Oh,
You know,
wow.
I'm sure you're like, well, in my head, I'm sure that, you're probably like me. You run into, somebody nasty at the grocery store or somebody that cuts you off in traffic and then is rude. And you're like, that's okay. You'll get it later.
I'll deal with you.
Yes,
It's very satisfying, isn't it?
it totally is to have. It's a good outlet too, as you well know.
It's a very good outlet. And when I read that book, I thought, I bet she's writing from experience.
Yes, I was.
Yes, it showed. I loved it so much. I think a lot of us can relate. I think just about everyone has had a really nasty boss.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure so. So when I wrote that, I thought, you know what? I hope that people can really. I always like to write characters that people can relate to.
Yeah.
And so, feeding off of, kind of real life experiences sometimes, and then twisting them in everybody kind of drives home in your car going, I wish I would have said, I wish I would have said,
Yeah.
well, in the book, I can say, at least in a cleaned up version.
And you can dispatch them.
Yes, I
Yeah,
can take that.
exactly. I absolutely love it. So, have you ever had any strange paranormal experiences or any experiences you couldn't explain?
I actually have. I grew up in a haunted house.
Did you?
I did. And
Wow.
it was an unusual experience. The first sighting that we saw, my sister and I, she's 4 years younger than I am. We were sleeping in the same bed. A lot of times she would get scared, so she would come sleep with me, and we were probably, I don't, young, like 7 and 3, maybe 8. Well, she remembers it's like 8 and 4. We're laying in my bed, and the way that it was situated was we could see the hallway. You had to walk in front of our bedroom door to get to the bathroom, and we saw this man in like blue work pants and an orange shirt went into the bathroom, and there was nobody in our house. We didn't know him, but he walked right through the bedroom and into the bathroom, and of course never came out. So that was our first experience.
That's incredible.
She said, did you see that? And I'm like, yeah.
Were you terrified or did you think it
Well,
was
at the time, I think we were so young that
yeah.
it not really. We were just like, who was the weird guy that just went into the bathroom?
Wow. And did that give you your love of writing paranormal?
It did. I have been just enthralled by any kind of fantasy book since then. Unicorns and fairies, and probably can't see in here, but I have my house is decorated with fairies and
Oh,
unicorns.
I love that. That's so
I've
exciting.
got my little guy that sits, my little unicorn. He sits and
Oh,
writes with me. He's got his
how
little.
gorgeous. Well, that's so lovely. Wow.
I Yeah, I collect things with uni things. I've got a uni duck.
Oh, wow. I love that.
Yeah, I'm surrounded by fantasy things.
I've never seen a uni duck before.
I hadn't either. And when I saw him, I said,
Yeah.
I've got to have him. I saw a uni hippo the other day,
Oh,
weirdly enough, at the
wow.
7-Eleven. And I'm like, I have to have that.
Was it blue?
It was. And
Oh.
he had a shiny gold horn. And but since it was at a gas station, it was like $30.
Oh, gosh.
No, I can't pay $30 for a stuffed animal.
Oh, that's so funny. So, what got you interested in cozies in particular?
I read a lot of
Mm.
cozies before the paranormal cozies, all of them.
Yes.
And I started with the top authors. Actually, I started with some of your books.
Oh, did you?
And yeah, I did. Started with you and Annabelle Chase and Amy Boyles and Amanda Lee, and I just read them. And when I would read them, things would pop into my head. And then I became an editor, and I edited a lot of cozy books, and I edited, oddly, like the cozy books were usually pretty good. I edited a couple fairly big name mystery, like suspense writers,
Right.
and their writing was not great.
Oh,
And I realized, I'm polishing their work and making it publishable and good.
mm.
I should do this myself. And
Exactly.
I had this story floating around in my head for my Keyhole Lake series. And so I just started writing it on the side, and
Yeah.
Bob's your uncle.
Rest is history.
Yes. I've been very blessed to find a good readership, and,
Mm.
people like you and other cozy authors have just blessed my life by sharing my stuff with, that's kind of how we all exist, is we all share and say, hey, here's a new author. And so
Yeah.
that's how I got my start.
That's so exciting. I absolutely love your books.
Thank you.
So now you're also writing paranormal women's fiction?
Yes, I am. I have a shot of midlife magic,
Yes.
and it leans a little more, there's a little more fantasy in it
Yeah.
than it's, you know, it's kind of like an urban fantasy cozy mix. There's a little bit of language in it, but it's clean as far as, you know, sex and that kind of stuff. It's all off screen.
Mm,
But I love writing in that because you know, she's my age,
yeah.
and it kind of, I'm sure that, you know, you can relate to when we're writing the cozies, we kind of have to take ourselves back to our 20s.
Yes.
And and sometimes it's hard with
Yeah.
Jules in the Paranormal Women's Fiction series. She's my age. I can just write what I think because that's what she would think. She is, whereas Destiny and Noelle, basically from my Keyhole series, they're kind of me when I was young.
Yeah.
Jules is me now
And
with
isn't
a little more brass.
that, and isn't that fantastic? Because like when I watch reality shows on TV, like Married at First Sight or even Love Island, I think, wouldn't it be good if they were over 40 or even over 50? And lots
Yes.
of people must think that because the whole
Yeah,
world isn't in their 20s.
they're not. And, you know, as women and as men, you know, I have a nice male readership for that too. My guys reach out, and everybody's just, because our readership tends to skew a little toward, you know, people our age.
Yeah.
It, you know, everybody's like, wow, I can really relate to her. I love your cozies, but I love this too because, you know, you know, she's our age. And of course, her
Exactly.
werewolf boyfriend is considerably older. He's,
Oh,
but
well,
he looks younger.
that's all that counts, isn't it?
It's, yes, it is.
Like Buffy and Angel was so ancient, but we thought of him, of course, as younger
Yes,
back then.
that's exactly how that book is too, you know, how that series is. And I have a new one coming out toward the end of the summer, a new series coming out. And so I'm excited about that. I love writing the older characters.
Yes. And your characters in that too are very relatable, I find.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
She just gets a lot of, I think, what would I do if, because
Yeah.
I would love to live in a magical world. So it's kind of a transport for me too into the world that I would love to live in. You know, sans the people trying to kill me.
Oh, yes. Apart from that, but you can kill them in books.
Yes, I can kill them better in first.
Exactly. So, have you ever had to do any strange sort of research for your books?
I have. I'm actually, the most fun I'm having right now is one of my upcoming series. I'm researching St. Augustine here in Florida, which is one of the most, it's one of the oldest and most haunted cities in the United States.
Incredible.
And there's a fort there, and I'm just learning so much about history from that. And the characters are just coming to life in my head. And with my Keyhole Lake series, because it was my first one, I had to do a lot of research.
Yeah.
And in my newsletter, this is the most fun part. In my newsletter, I do a cool trivia section where I share all the kind of some of the cool magic stuff that I find. And it, you know, like the windows on the New England houses that you see up that are slanted like this, those are actually called witch windows.
Oh, lovely. I love
And
it.
yeah, they were made so that the witches couldn't fly into your house. They would
Oh,
have to fly sideways, and then
how cruel.
yes, I know. I would have rather had a witch in my house than a lot of the normal people I know.
A lot nicer, wouldn't they be?
Yes. If we could just flip our fingers, and, you know, I'd love to be a witch. If I could just flip my finger and make another cup of coffee.
Oh, that'd be good. Be absolutely
I don't know if you
fantastic.
can hear it. It is storming horribly here. So
Oh, is it?
it has been for a week. You know, here I am in Florida, and everybody else is telling me what lovely weather they're having, and I'm sitting in the rain.
Oh, that is crazy, isn't it?
Yes.
I think Florida's a bit like Brisbane, sort of tropical and on the ocean and on the
Yes.
coast. I always get east and west mixed up, but the east, both on the east
I'm so
coast of the
sorry.
countries. Well, that's all right. I'm the same with technology.
I'm not a big tech person. If
Yeah.
my soul was born a century ago. So,
All right. You were trying to fly into people's houses apart from those witch windows.
yes, I
Yeah.
was. That's probably how I died. I went sideways because I'm so clumsy and banged my head, and that was the end of me.
So have you, because you started with the cozies, have you ever wanted to write a pure urban fantasy?
Yes, I would love to.
Mhm.
My problem with that is I have my current readership, and with the urban fantasies, I would want to take it a little bit,
Ah,
maybe a little bit non-cozy.
right.
But I'm learning actually that a lot of our readers really, they kind of read a broad spectrum, and I'm so grateful for that, because I was really scared when I jumped into the paranormal women's fiction that none of my readers would follow me, or that they'd be disappointed.
Mm.
But I'm finding that they're kind of like us. They read, they are, our readers are us.
Yeah.
And yeah, they read, my readers write everything. I get requests for even high fantasy, epic,
Oh, really?
I do.
Are you
And
tempted?
I am tempted, but I don't know. That would be because you have to invest so much of your time into that.
Yeah.
Those are 400 or 500 pages long.
Mhm.
So a lot of world building, and I would either be able to write it for 3 months, or my cozies once every 6 weeks or so. So that's kind of
Yeah,
the challenge there.
it's
Just I
difficult,
need two
isn't
of
it?
me, just like you need two of you.
Oh gosh, we need more than two of us, I think.
Yeah, yeah, three. One just to do the administrative stuff,
Oh
and then
God.
2 or 3 of us to write all the series in our heads.
Oh, wouldn't it be good?
It would be so good. I've got more stories in my head than I'll ever write.
Yeah. And there's not enough coffee, is there, to keep us
There
going?
is not.
No. So,
And with now that
sorry?
I have now that I have the two new kittens with the two
Oh,
dogs, I'm not gonna have even less time.
be very sleepless.
Yes,
Yeah. And so cozy fantasies.
yes,
There's a lot of buzz about that at the moment.
there are.
Yeah.
And like I said, especially I kind of went that direction with the paranormal, with the Shot of Midlife Magic series,
Yeah.
because I tried to keep it cozy-ish.
Mm.
It's like I said, there's a little bit of language,
Yeah.
but I wanted everybody to feel comfortable stepping into that world.
Yes.
And so yes, I'm very, very much about that. I would like to stretch a little bit, like I said, into the more, add more romantic elements into it, but for now.
Yes.
Have you considered writing any of the cozy fantasies?
Probably, but mine would probably be too cozy, if you know what I
That
mean. I did
It's
do,
such a fine line that we walk.
it is, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and I'm sure that you are the same way. I'll want to write a scene, but I'll think, oh, that's a little too steamy. Or, I
Yeah.
think of something that a character would realistically, because since a lot of my characters, I have more than one bartender, and
Yeah.
bartenders kind of tend to have colorful language.
I do.
And, I'm like, well, she wouldn't say golly gosh here. So this is not what she'd say. But then you have to restrain yourself, because, you have those parameters in cozy.
It's difficult. Like I had a parrot that swore a lot. I mean, not in real life, but in one of my series. So I just put, like asterisks and hashtags across the speak. And then the narrator said, "What am I going to do here?" When we
Oh, yeah.
thought of that, of course.
So
So
what was your solution?
she beeped it out as if it
Oh,
worked really well. Yeah,
yeah.
that's different.
That is so cool and so creative that you would think of that.
Oh, I didn't think of it. My narrator did. I wish I could
That's
say
why we have these other professionals that we work with. Who was it that said we don't have to know everything? We just have to surround ourselves with people who do.
very true. That is so true.
I just make stuff up for a living. The other stuff, the covers and everything else, I depend on somebody else to do.
And that's exactly right. And I like the way you said make up stuff for a living
Yeah.
too. Very cozy.
Yes.
Difficult, isn't it, to stick within the parameters sometimes?
It definitely is.
Yeah.
I actually got a slap on the wrist from Facebook here a
Oh,
while back,
no.
because those little say what you do without saying what you do
Ah, yes.
posts that you'll see. Well, I put in there, I kill people.
Oh gosh, yeah. So you got in trouble.
Yeah, and I didn't even, because it was in such jest, it
Yeah.
was fun. I didn't even think about it, but Facebook frowned upon me for that.
I had the same. I said something about murdering someone, but I meant in a book. But I got
Yes.
the same. I got in the same trouble. It's like,
Apparently, we can't just tell people that we kill people.
no,
Apparently, we can't say that out loud. No murder.
no, we can't kill people. Now, tell me about your two books. Now, you said summer, so that your this summer, which would be our winter, which is now. So, is that book coming out very soon?
It is. I'm shooting to have it out by hopefully the end of August, possibly September.
That is very soon indeed. The way this year's flying past us.
Oh my goodness. I can't hardly believe it.
No.
I struggled with some well, for 2 years, I've struggled with some health issues. So my publishing really slowed down my books. I wanted to keep things going in the series, but I couldn't maintain them all without shortening them.
Yeah,
So yeah, so I went a little shorter, but my publishing schedule got so out of whack
it would.
that now that summer's flying, I've got all these ideas now that I'm healthy again,
Yeah.
that I'm so far behind. I want to write this book and this book and this book.
Oh no.
I People say, well, when's that coming out? I like August 2028.
I love it.
Yeah, that one, she's bothering me in my head. So I am
Oh,
gonna have
yes.
to. Don't you hate it when they do? You hate it and you love it?
Yes, they get very loud, don't they?
Yes, they do. And like, just wait your turn.
Yeah.
You have to wait your turn.
I was working on two other books, and then Amelia Speld got quite aggressive about wanting to be out in a book now. So I had to drop everything and stick her in a book. And it's like, okay, back off.
Yes.
Isn't
Yeah,
it?
just stop.
Like they talk to us, don't they? And they
They
insist,
do.
book.
Now, do you end up with problems like you'll get to the end of your book and your characters just run amok and do what they want instead of what what you want to tell them to do?
Yes.
It's like sometimes the murder ends up being not the person that you had planned for it to be. Has that ever happened to you?
It has. It's like they take over, they have a mind of their own. And then I think, I wonder if people consider me insane for thinking this. Yeah.
No, it happens all the time. Yeah, and it's like especially in the Keyhole series, the
Oh,
murderers
really?
tend to, yeah, I'll be writing and I've got all this plotted out here and I don't plot well in advance. I can only
Yeah.
plot a couple chapters out because if I try to plot the whole book, it's I'm clear off track by chapter 3 or 4.
Oh,
But
no.
sometimes I'll get to the end of the book and boom, this person popped up and she was the murderer. I'm like, you were so nice the whole book.
That is so funny. Well, that's how you keep readers in suspense. I was going to ask you, how do you stop people from figuring out who the murderer is? But that's how you do it. The characters do it themselves. Is that right?
They honestly do a lot of the times. I'll be setting up the final, murder reveal scene,
Yeah.
and I'll have, I'll be like 2 or 3 chapters before it, setting it up, and all of a sudden, no, I'm going, okay, Jerry murdered them, blah, blah, blah. And then you get up and it wasn't Jerry, it was Sharon. And you're going, how did that happen?
That is so funny. So that's the answer then.
Yes.
Yeah, because I thought you must have read lots of Agatha Christie when you were a child and you were thinking of all these red herrings and how you could trick people. And I was going to ask you about your method.
I actually just kind of, I hate to say trip through it, but I kind of transport myself into the world as if
Oh,
I am actually experiencing it as I go.
yeah.
And then my imagination just kind of takes over from there. And sometimes I have to go back in because the murderer does that to me a lot. I'll have to go back and add, I'll change, where I would set up and put the red herrings in for the person that I think is the killer.
Yeah.
And then when I find out that, wow, I was wrong, I didn't even know the ending to this book.
Oh, that is so funny.
Yeah,
So do
so
you tend to write in like sprints, or when do you just work until you get the book finished, like go into writing frenzy, or do you have some sort of a structure?
I try to stay structured. With the health issues, it kind of didn't work out that way because I would
Yeah.
have to, it's really difficult because people would say, well, you're down, you can't get out and move, because I broke my ankle. I had to have my hip replaced because of a motorcycle accident.
Yeah.
And so it's been just a very tumultuous couple of years. And everybody says, well, you can't move. Why didn't you write 10 books? But cozies are so, like, when you're in pain, or when, I was a little bit depressed because I couldn't get out and do things.
Mm,
And so people are like, well, you should have written 10 books, but you can't get in that headspace and be fun and creative
mm.
when you're in pain and when your
Oh,
head's not in it.
absolutely.
So I tend to write in sprints. I'm trying to get back in that structure so that I can do, X amount of words a day. But a lot of times I'll find myself just sprinting through the end of it because I just need to get it done. And I, have made promises. So whoop, we're going to have a few all nighters.
Oh no, that's hard.
It is.
Yeah,
How do you write? Do you do sprints, or do you do
I
like the
just
rush at the end?
I do both.
Okay, so I think all of us do, sort of.
So,
I know a few authors who are really structured and write X amount of words a day,
wow.
edit X amount of words, but my brain nopes out on me sometimes.
Yeah.
Nope, we're hanging out in the pool today. Nope, we're going and hanging out at the park and playing Pokemon today.
Oh, that sounds good. I always admire Annabelle. I'm not Annabelle, I admire her too, but Amanda, how she writes 10,000 words by lunch and then has a swim.
Yes.
It's like, I wish I could do that. I strive to be like her.
I
Incredible.
I'll be talking, because we chat back and forth, and she'll say, here it is, 11 o'clock, and she's like, okay, word's done. And you know that it wasn't what your typical word count would be. Like, mine is 3 to 5,000 words a day. I can do the 10,000 words a day, but I can't sustain it.
The same. I
Is
can't, not day after day. If I do it
Yeah.
once, I'm like, that was 10 years ago. Yay for me. Goodbye. That's
Yes.
cool. Yeah.
Or that last 3 or 4 days when you're just doing the whole all nighter. You're
Oh,
doing 12 cups of coffee. You're you're
exactly.
you're vibrating, you're hearing colors.
That's it. Exactly. Oh gosh. Yes, I've been there where like a few weeks, I think 3 months in a row, I spent 3 or 4 days where I would work through the night, like literally, and then I'd have an hour's sleep the next day and keep going. And I did that, I think, 3 months in a row because I had to, that was for a publisher that wanted me to, my pen name, to do something. And oh gosh, that was nearly the end of me. I couldn't do that again. It's too much.
No, it drains you. It really does. It takes, even emotionally, because how readers will tell you. I get a lot of my readers say, I have a book hangover. I was a pig and I read the whole thing in 1 or 2 days, and now I'm sad. And we experience the same thing. I do, and I'm sure you do. When the book's over, you feel kind of sad and drained, and you just need to take a few days and say, wow. Especially when I end a series. I recently
Um,
ended one of my Corey. I ended my Corey Sloan series,
mm,
and it was a business decision. But
yeah.
you have to, if you want to move on, then you have to pick a series to end, and then you have to be a businesswoman about it and pick, okay, this is the one that's not quite performing as well as the other ones. But it broke my heart when I ended that.
That's sad.
And yeah,
Mm.
so I think I'm going to continue to write maybe novellas in that series.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so if I can squeeze in time, because I've got like 37, all these balls that we're juggling.
I know. And have you ever thought, instead, when you end a series, to take some characters from that and put them into a new series so there's a little bit of continuity that way, or not? You
I
just,
do. Actually, Corey is um, cousins to, I have 3 series that are kind of Enchanted Coast related.
yeah.
So I have Destiny in the Enchanted Coast series, and then I have Mila, she lives in Abaddon's Gate, and she is Destiny's cousin. And then Corey Sloan of my Corey Sloan Witchy Werewolf series is Mila's sister. So I kind of do that, you know, and Noelle and Corey met at one point from my Keyhole Lake series. They were vacationing, 2 points actually. They were vacationing and met each other. So yeah, they kind of tend to wander off into each other's
Yeah.
spaces.
Isn't it funny?
It is. And it's so much fun
Yeah. That's
because then
one.
you kind of get to see your character from somebody else's point of view.
That's true. You do too. I absolutely love your books, and I'm excited you have two coming out in the near
Thank you
future.
very much. I
Yeah.
enjoy yours as well.
Oh, thank you.
But little time, I don't know if you're like me, but you get as much time to read as you used to?
No, I don't. I used to read a lot more, but what about you?
I'm the same way. I used to be a voracious reader. I would, you know, especially with the cozies, I'd do at least 2 or 3 a week. And now I'm lucky if I get one a month finished. And
I know.
that makes it really hard trying to keep up with everybody because y'all are writing all these great books. And now I have a book list that's, you know,
The same. I'm thinking, oh gosh, I haven't read this one yet, and I'm really keen to read it. And it's like, and in my head, it's someone's book that I want to read is still a new release, but they might have put it out last Christmas. And it's like, where has the time
yes,
gone? And now there are more books out. It's so difficult to keep up, isn't it? When you're
it
writing,
is.
writing crazily.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm so sad because right now I'm like 7 books behind, and I saw one of my favorite authors has another. She usually releases in this series every 3 or 4 months. I
Mm.
haven't read the last one yet, and she's releasing the new one.
No, but
Where does time go?
I know. Where does I hope? Sorry for all the noise. My dogs have woken up and they're making dreadful sounds behind me.
You actually have a very good microphone because I can't hear them. So
Good. Oh, that's here they come. Well, it was
yes.
lovely to chat with you today. I could talk to you for hours.
Yeah, me too. And it was great to actually, you know, it's always nice to face, you know, we'll message back and forth in Facebook, but it's always nice to chat.
It is, isn't it?
Yes, it
Yes.
is. And thank you for chatting with me.
And thank you. And I can't wait. And everyone, grab your two books that are coming out if they've caught up already, because they're fantastic.
Thank you. And how much this book club is so fun because that's allowing us to do that.
Isn't it? It's a wonderful book club.
Yes, I've met so many authors that I didn't know already. You know, we kind of tend to have our little worlds that we operate in. And now I'm getting to kind of expand that, and it's great.
And I've been enjoying all the interviews as well, getting to see the authors interviewed, because you often don't see that either.
You don't, and it surprises me because you always have this image in your face or in your mind, excuse me. You know what they look like in your mind. And then
Yeah,
you see them face to face and you think, that's not how I pictured them at all.
that's right. It'd be like characters in a book, wouldn't it?
Yes, exactly like that.
In a different way. Yeah. Yes. Lovely.
So, well, I know that it's getting late in Australia, and I really appreciate you working around your schedule to talk to me.
I appreciate you getting up really early with no sleep after looking after a whole lot of kitties.
Yeah. We couldn't find them this morning. They were hiding. Yeah, my significant other called through. He says, we don't have any kittens because we kept them in the bathroom last night. They had crawled up into my bathroom I have like a sink cabinet, and they had crawled up into that and were sleeping in the drawers beside the rolls of spare toilet paper.
How strange. Naughty little kitties.
Yes, already. So
Yeah.
anyway, you have a great evening.
You
Thank you
too,
so
and
much.
happy to chat.
Absolutely. And I'll talk to you later.
Talk to you then. Okay. Bye.
Bye
Bye
bye.
now. Bye.